Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital spoilers. Danny blames Rocco for Sam's death. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Sam McCall, Kelly Monaco, will die the week of October 28. Currently, spoilers and rumors suggest that Sam's death is tied to being Lulu Spencer's, Alexa Havens, liver transplant. Will Danny Morgan, Asher Antonisen, blame Rocco Falconeri, Finn Francis Carr, because Sam died saving his mom? Dan Falconeri, Dominic Zamprogna, and Sam have been raising their children together for some time now. Lulu was never expected to wake up after all this time, and now that she is, Sam has stepped up to donate part of her liver to Lulu to give her a chance to survive. Unfortunately, it seems that Sam won't be so lucky. Sam has been found to be a match, but she has to have other tests done before she can for sure be a donor. Sam has insisted that Terry Randolph, Cassandra James, not say anything to Dante at all. Sam wants to have all of the tests done before she offers to make this sacrifice. Sam wants Rocco to have his mom, but perhaps she should have thought of her kids more instead. Fans know that Kelly was fired several weeks ago. This leaves Kelly's exit date during the first week of November sweeps. Of course, GHA is no doubt hoping to raise their number in the ratings game, since they are on a 30-week low streak. With all of Monaco's fans who are upset with them over this move, they could very well stay there. Kelly has, of course, played Sam for 21 years as of this past October 1. Jason and Sam. Fans have been wanting a reunion for years, but it never happened and likely never will. This leaves not only Danny without his mother, but Scout Kane, Cosette Avenant, as well. Danny is going to be very upset for himself and his sister. Sam has been the only consistent in Danny's life, since Jason returned him to her when he was 4 months old. Jason disappeared the night they brought him home, and returned 5 years later only to disappear again. Sam's death will certainly hit Danny very hard. Selfishly, he may blame Rocco because Sam decided to help his mom. Danny will eventually get over this idea, but for the meantime, it could certainly cause friction between the two boys. Will Danny ever get over the loss of his mom? Could Danny also blame Jason since when he goes away, he always comes back? How will Danny manage to deal with this great loss? Port Charles has never been a stranger to tragedy, but the heartbreaking loss of Sam McCall sent shockwaves through the town that no one was prepared for. Her sudden death left behind an unimaginable void, especially for her son, Danny Morgan, who's struggling to cope with the unimaginable grief. The pain has torn him apart, but it's more than just grief that's eating at him. Anger and blame have taken root deep within his heart, and it's pointed directly at his once best friend, Rocco Falconeri. The tragic event unfolded during a mission that spiraled out of control. Sam, always the fearless investigator, found herself caught in a dangerous web woven by the elusive criminal mastermind, Mason Gatlin. She had been working tirelessly with Dante Falconeri, her on-again, off-again partner, and Rocco's father. With every lead, every piece of evidence, Sam got closer to bringing Mason down, but in doing so, she also put herself in harm's way. It was supposed to be a simple handoff. Dante, as always, had Sam's back, and Rocco had insisted on tagging along, determined to follow in his father's footsteps and help protect the ones he loved. Despite Dante's hesitations, he allowed his son to stay close, trusting that between himself and Sam, they could keep Rocco out of danger. But when the situation went sideways, no one could have predicted how badly it would end. A shootout erupted, and in the chaos, Sam was fatally wounded. She shielded Rocco from a bullet meant for him, paying the ultimate price for her bravery. As she bled out in Dante's arms, her final breath was filled with the hope that her children would know how much she loved them. Rocco, devastated and guilt-ridden, witnessed everything, his world shattered in a matter of seconds. But it's Danny, Sam's oldest son, who is struggling the most in the aftermath. He's not just grieving, he's angry. Furious even. And that fury is laser-focused on Rocco. In Danny's mind, it's all Rocco's fault. His mother would still be alive if Rocco hadn't been there, if he hadn't insisted on coming along to play hero. Danny's grief has morphed into a bitter resentment that's tearing him apart from the inside. At first, Danny tried to bottle up his emotions. He put on a brave face for his little sister Scout, and even for Jason, his estranged father, who has always been distant, but now attempts to step up and help his son through this difficult time. But the cracks in Danny's emotional armor were evident, and soon his feelings came pouring out in a way no one saw coming. It started small. Danny stopped hanging out with Rocco, making excuses to avoid him. Then came the angry outbursts, lashing out at the mere mention of Rocco's name. But things took a darker turn when, during a memorial service for Sam, Danny publicly blamed Rocco for his mother's death. "It should have been you," Danny shouted, his voice breaking with raw emotion. "She's gone because of you." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed Danny's heartbreaking accusation. Rocco stood frozen, his face pale and eyes wide, unable to process the weight of Danny's words. Dante immediately stepped in, trying to shield his son from the harshness of the moment, but the damage had already been done. Rocco was already drowning in guilt, and Danny's words felt like an anchor pulling him even deeper. Dante, struggling with his own grief and guilt, finds himself caught between his son and his loyalty to Sam's memory. He wants to help Rocco heal, but how can you do that when he's still grappling with the fact that his mission cost Sam her life? Rocco, who once idolized Danny as his best friend and brother-in-arms, is now avoiding him, crushed by the weight of the blame that's been unfairly placed on his shoulders. Meanwhile, Danny's behavior is spiraling out of control. His once close bond with his little sister Scout has become strained as he withdraws further into himself. Jason, who has always been stoic and emotionally reserved, is at a loss for how to help his son. He knows better than anyone how dangerous it can be to let grief and anger fester, but every attempt to reach out to Danny is met with resistance. The once unbreakable friendship between Danny and Rocco is now in tatters. Elizabeth Weber, Rocco's stepmother, has tried to step in, offering Rocco a safe space to talk about his feelings, but he refuses. He's haunted by nightmares of Sam's death, replaying the moment over and over in his head, convinced that if he had just stayed home that day, Sam would still be alive. But no amount of reassurance from his father or Elizabeth can shake that belief. For Danny, the anger is all-consuming. He begins to act out, getting into fights at school, and pushing away everyone who tries to help him. Carly, always the fierce protector of her family, tries to get through to him, but even she finds herself at a loss. The more people try to intervene, the more Danny lashes out. It's clear that he's not just mourning the loss of his mother, he's losing himself in the process. Port Charles watches in silent agony as the friendship between these two boys, once as solid as a rock, crumbles under the weight of grief and guilt. Both families are left in turmoil, wondering if Danny and Rocco will ever find their way back to each other, or if Sam's death has forever torn them apart. With each passing day, the rift between Danny and Rocco grows deeper. Dante worries that he's losing both his son and his connection to the memory of Sam, while Jason fears that Danny's anger will push him down a dark path from which he may never return. As Port Charles grieves for Sam, the question remains, can Danny and Rocco find a way to heal, or will their shared pain only drive them further apart? The scars of Sam's death may be permanent, but whether they will tear these two families apart for good is a question only time will answer.